Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for your greatest support. Now, I'm not feeling quite well. I don't know what's on, but I've called one of the doctors that I have and tried explaining to him how I'm feeling and all that, and he has told me to go for the checkup tomorrow. I really don't know what's going on, but hopefully we'll find out the problem. But that one does not mean that we can't work or we can't talk about what is happening in the country. And today in this video, there is something that I've noticed has been going on since Ra Mulinga's fake news of being hospitalized spread, whereby ODM people have been leashing attack on Rigathi Gachagua. Gachagua also defending himself, saying that since Raila Odinga joined William Samoei Ruto, he has never had any interest or any business with Raila Odinga.
I know you don't understand English, Rigathi Gachagua. Honorable Dr. Joyce Atieno Sogo Bensouda, a project land planner, I only concentrate on 10-point agenda. And when I talk about 10-point agenda, we don't discuss leaders stupidly. I want to beseech you today. Honorable Raila Odinga is not your class, is not your caliber. You cannot discuss his name, and we refuse this day. I want to talk to Rigathi Gachagua that we are all created in the image of God. And there is nobody who can fail not to be sick at one point. Working on an assumption, because I'm a researcher, working on an assumption that your assumption and propaganda was somewhere near 1%. We want to tell you it is no. Honorable Gachagua, we are going to put our knees down, and never will we let the devil to be talking about what you're talking about. In the name of Jesus, Raila is covered by the precious blood of Jesus Christ.
But then my question has been this: in as much as maybe these rumors spread and you've seen a lot of people talking about it, what is it? What is the problem? Like, where is the problem coming from? Before I get into that discussion, there is something that Edwin Sifuna said, which I would like to read it so that we can talk a little about it and then we get into the discussion. This is what Edwin Sifuna said. Edwin Sifuna, that is the Secretary General of ODM, he said that all the leaders must rest. We want to reset Kenya. Ruto must go. We don't need endorsements from all leaders to redeem this country. We are good to go. That is a statement that is coming from Edwin Sifuna. He's saying that all the leaders must rest. Now, my question is this: how many old leaders do we have in this country? How many of old folks do we have? And this issue of endorsement, where did it come from? Because some of the politicians believe that they have to be endorsed by other leaders or other politicians for them to survive in Kenyan politics. Why so? That is the question. Why so? Why should you depend solemnly on the other person for you to emerge? Can you just work on your own self? Can you work on your brand? That is the problem. Can't somebody just decide and work on his or her own brand? Why depend on other people? You know, that is where now the mistake is coming from. I really love that. Edwin Sifuna is saying that we don't need endorsements. All leaders, we have got Raila Odinga is very old, 80 years plus. We can't talk about Francis Atwoli. We can't talk about people like Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula. When you try to look at majority of the leaders right now are 35 years, let me just say 40 years and below. Majority of them, that is the average age, 40 years and below. Now, that one now brings us to this topic of why is it so much important for Kenya to avoid electing old politicians and start investing on the young politicians. But I just want us to be honest with ourselves. That the truth of the matter is that our politics is stuck in a replay mode. Like we keep on replaying, whereby we have got the same faces, we have got the same promises, we have got the same slogans. Same people, once you have the same people, you have the same faces, there is nothing new that they'll tell you, apart from what you've not heard. If somebody comes and tells you that I'll build roads, that the issue of building roads have been talked about with so many people over and over again. You see, tutajenga barabara, tutafanya nini, mara tutafanya nini, mara tutashughulikia wananchi. Those are the criteria that these guys have been talking about over and over again. So whenever we have new leaders emerging, I think that narrative is going to change. When you try to look at other parts of the world, like other parts of the continent of the country, not necessarily our country, but other countries, you'll come to realize that the world is really changing so fast. The world is changing so fast, whereby there are some people who are tired of recycling leaders. But then, in as much as the world is changing, is moving so fast, and things are changing, but we just want to put people in charge. The problem is that we just put people in charge deliberately, debating the ideas from back in 1980s. That is why sometimes whenever you hear Raila Odinga speaking, Raila must refer to us of what happened, I don't know, back in 1970s, 1980s. So my question has been, this thing has been bothering me completely, and I've been trying to dig deep into this thing, because if we really don't decide, to reset so soon, then we'll keep running a modern country on expired ideas. Like we really, our idea, the idea that is right now, we find that even the Gen Zs are coming out with different ideas. They want new things. They want modern things. So we want a modern country. There is no way we can run a modern country with expired ideas, with the same ideas back in those years, back in 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. But if we have new ideas, these new ideas should be aired out by new faces, new people who understands that now the time has come for change. This is what we're supposed to do. I think by doing that, things will move on so fast and so good. I want us to talk about these things one by one. Number one, the reason as to why I feel like we really need young politicians. We don't need these old folks. I do call them old folks. The reason as to why I feel like we don't need these old folks is number one, Kenya needs fresh ideas and fresh minds. And these fresh minds and these fresh ideas are normally still in the minds and in the thoughts of the politicians who are below the age of 40 years. I've started by telling you that when you try to look at the majority of Kenyans, right, or majority of leaders right now, of young leaders, they are 40 and below. How old is Babu Wino? How old is Edwin Sifuna? People like Ali Abamisi, how old are they? They're not that old. They're not, okay, they're old enough, but they're not that old. Like, in fact, even their ideas, people like Jalango, whenever you listen to them, whenever they bring whenever they bring ideas, unasikia unasema kwamba there is something here. But now, what will happen if we keep on defending people who has never meant well for our country? We will not have these fresh ideas. We'll just stick to that which we normally have. We are almost at a digital economy and also climate change, whereby in fact when you try to look at a lot of things, sometimes you find that AI is really, artificial intelligence is really doing a lot. So tell me, how Kabogo, people like Kabogo will deal with artificial intelligence? How will they have ideas on how they can run this? Youth have got there is a lot of unemployment within the youth. Tell me how these guys are going to maneuver. Tell me how these guys are going to make sure that they sort this issue out. How is it going to be possible for them to sort this thing out? It's not that it's next to impossible. It is impossible. Based on what is going on, or based on the experience that they have, they only have the experience of the past, but they don't have the experience of the present. That is why you'll find that in the 21st century, you can't fix you can't fix a 21st century with the 20th century thinking or idea. You can't. It's impossible. So this issue of these leaders making noise, mara Raila ameguswa, mara Raila ameongelewa vibaya, I think they should style up. They really need to understand that okay, it's good, Raila should leave. We should not pray for anybody to die, as I said, that it's so much painful kuombea mtu afe. But then why do you come to defend somebody so much? Mnasema kwamba oh, is the leader, mara yes, is the leader. We don't atukatai. But in as much as he's the leader, it's high time he understands that let us now give room for these young people. At least our pia waongoze. Can't we have such kind of things in this country? Why is it that such kind of things are possible? Is it impossible, or is it just possible and we are ignorant? You know, kuna ile kitu ambayo iko impossible, and then kuna ile yenye iko possible but people are ignorant. Kuna ile yenye watu unaona tu yenyewe hii nayo mtu ana ignore. But then before ignoring or after ignoring, what next? And then number two, the issue of represent the majority. And under this, you find that more than 70% of Kenyans are under the age, I think I've told, under the age of 35. Now, this one is not about leaders. I've told you that the majority of leaders are 40 years and below. Now, majority of Kenyans, over 70% right now, are below the age of 35. That is now where we have the Gen Zs and the millennials. 18, I think it's 18 million plus, yeah. 18 million plus. That is the bracket of the Gen Zs. Now, atujeka millennials. So it means that out of 50 million Kenyans, a half of it, that is 25, let's just say 50%. To 50% of the 50 million, that is 250 million, is covered by the Gen Zs and millennials. And then sasa hiyo ingine iko tu hapo katikati. Sasa 40, 50 years, au ingine wako hapo. But majority of Kenyans right now are below the age of 70 or 50 or 35 years. Now, the question should be, how old are most of the people making laws for them? A very simple question. Majority of Kenyans, 70% are the age of 35 years and below. But how old are those politicians who are making laws for these people who are below 35 years? Yeah? 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. So you are 70 years, you are 50, 60 years. How would you make a law that is going to help a 35 years and below? How? Does it even make sense? It doesn't make sense. So that one is just like having your grandfather deciding which apps you're allowed to download. Yeah? It's like sasa babu yako anakuambia, oh, you are supposed to download this. Ukitaka kudownload YouTube anakuambia don't download YouTube. Ukitaka kudownload Netflix anakuambia don't download Netflix. Ukitaka kudownload kitu kingine anakuambia don't download a Bible app. It's like, you know, is controlling you on what to do. Yet yeye mwenyewe hana idea. The problem is that these people make laws, but they don't have any idea on how these laws should work or how these laws are applied. That is the greatest mistake that we've ever had that is happening. Yes, they're making laws, but hata wewe wenyewe ukiuliza sasa hii law yenye umepeleka bungeni ama mnataka hii mswada ambao mnataka ipass, how is it going to work? They don't tell you because they don't understand it. Completely they don't understand it. And you know, we also have to understand that when young people lead, their policies actually reflect the reality of the majority. I want us to take, for instance, right now, let's say, for example, the majority of people who are going to be in power in 2027 are 35 years and below. Do you really think we're going to have a lot of we're going to have unemployment issues? The issues to do with job opportunities, innovations, education, and cost of living. It's not going to be possible because these guys understand that mtu akikosa kazi, this is what happens. So they'll try as much as they can to create more jobs for their fellows. You see? And you can't represent the youth if you don't even understand their daily struggle. These people who sits in these offices, do you think they really they really understand the daily struggle? Somebody was born in money, grew up in money, then inherited that money. Do you really think that that person would be or will be in a position to understand the frustrations? Will be in a position to understand what you're going through as a person? It's impossible, not even next to impossible. It is completely impossible for this person to understand that. And then also the third one is the issue of politics needs energy, not retirement plan. When we try to look at what these guys are doing right now, majority of them are looking for retirement plans. Unasikia kwamba mara nyumba imejengwa mahali, hiyo ni mtu fulani, mara nini. By the way, Raila'S gave out a plot to build affordable houses in Kisumu. Walianza kujenga, those were in Kisumu. You can tell us at the comment section. The houses that the affordable houses that that Raila'S offered is land so that they could be built. Zilianza kujengwa. Na kama zilianza kujengwa, you have to understand that that is just a way of that man preparing himself for retirement. Ataki kwenda bankrupt kabisa. Jamaa amesema ata invest. Hata akikufa akiwa every government this guy is need lazima invest.